Women who make men fall deeply in love and stay emotionally invested for a long time are rarely the ones who give away everything from the very beginning. They are not constantly sending the first message. They are not available every second of the day. They do not exhaust themselves trying to prove how much they care. Instead, they live by one powerful boundary that quietly changes the way a man sees them. It shifts something inside his mind and makes him realize that losing her would mean losing someone truly rare. This single boundary can change the way he values you. It can turn you from someone he enjoys spending time with into someone he cannot imagine replacing. For years, many people have been told that love is built by sacrifice, by giving endlessly, by putting someone else's needs before your own until there is nothing left. They are taught that if they love harder, give more, and expect less, they will finally receive the love they have been waiting for. But what if that belief has actually been pushing the right people away? What if trying too hard has been creating distance instead of closeness? What if the real secret to building lasting attraction has very little to do with giving everything and much more to do with protecting the things that matter most? Stay with me, because what you are about to hear challenges the advice that many people have followed for years, yet it explains why some women naturally become unforgettable while others are taken for granted before the relationship even has a chance to grow. This is not about pretending to be someone you are not. It is not about playing emotional games or making someone jealous. It is about understanding a simple psychological principle that changes how attraction develops over time. There is one boundary that many naturally magnetic women follow without even realizing how powerful it is. It makes a man want to invest instead of simply receiving. It encourages him to appreciate what he has rather than assuming it will always be there. It creates respect before it creates attachment, and that respect becomes the foundation for deeper feelings. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly why this works, how to use it without creating unnecessary distance, and why this one adjustment can completely change the way confident and emotionally healthy men respond to you. So before we continue, take a moment to settle in, put away anything that might distract you, and give this your full attention. Because one small shift in the way you approach relationships can completely change the results you have been getting. And trust me, what comes next is something that most people never hear, even after years of dating advice. You will want to stay until the final minute, because the last insight often surprises people the most, and it could completely reshape the way you think about attraction forever. Here is something that surprises almost everyone when they first hear it. The way many people believe men fall in love is often the opposite of how deep emotional attachment actually develops. A lot of women think love grows simply by spending more time together, sharing every thought, answering every message immediately, and always being available whenever he reaches out. They believe that the more access he has to them, the stronger his feelings will become. It sounds logical, it feels kind, but real attraction is usually more complex than that. Many men do not build lasting emotional connection through constant comfort alone. Instead, deeper feelings often grow through anticipation, curiosity, emotional investment, and the desire to keep discovering someone over time. Human nature places greater value on things that require genuine effort. When every conversation is predictable, every answer comes instantly, and every part of your life is available without limits, there is often very little left to discover. Curiosity begins to fade. Appreciation can slowly disappear. The excitement that once pulled someone closer may quietly lose its strength. Keep watching, because the next point explains why protecting your own space can actually create a healthier and much stronger connection than endless availability ever could. Think about the people who leave the deepest impression on others. They usually have full lives outside the relationship. They protect their time. They have interests, goals, friendships, and dreams that continue whether someone chooses to stay or leave. They care deeply, but they never abandon themselves to earn someone's attention. That is the boundary that changes everything. It is the decision that your peace, your purpose, your self-respect, and your emotional well-being will never become the price you pay for love. When a man realizes that your happiness does not depend entirely on him, something shifts inside his thinking. He begins to understand that being part of your life is something valuable, not something guaranteed. Instead of assuming you will always be there regardless of how he behaves, he becomes more aware of the importance of his actions. He starts paying closer attention. He notices the little things. He invests more because he understands that healthy relationships are built through mutual effort, not one-sided sacrifice. That does not mean becoming cold or distant. It means remaining warm while still respecting your own standards. And this is where many people make a huge mistake, so do not skip what comes next, because it may completely change how you approach every future relationship. I can almost guarantee something. The woman a man keeps thinking about for months or even years is usually not the one who rearranged her whole life for him. She was not the one who answered every call within seconds. She was not the one who dropped every plan just because he suddenly became available. She was not the woman who removed every challenge from his path to make the relationship easy. Instead, she had healthy limits. She respected her own time. She had standards that did not disappear because she liked someone. Her life already felt meaningful before he arrived, and because of that, he understood that becoming part of her world was something he needed to earn. Human nature places greater value on things that feel rare and meaningful. This does not only happen in relationships, it happens in almost every part of life. When something requires patience, effort, and consistency, people naturally appreciate it more. The same pattern often appears in attraction. When a man invests his time, energy, and emotions into getting closer to you, his own mind begins attaching greater value to that connection. He starts telling himself that someone who inspires this much effort must be truly special. That is why genuine investment creates stronger emotional attachment than endless availability ever can. Keep watching, because the next idea explains why this matters even more than most people realize, and the final lesson may completely change the way you see relationships. Now, here is where things become even more interesting. It is not only about pursuing someone, it is about what happens inside a person's mind while they are making that effort. Every meaningful conversation, every thoughtful action, every moment where he chooses to rise to your standards instead of taking shortcuts becomes another emotional investment. Each investment quietly strengthens the connection inside his own thinking. The more someone works to build something valuable, the harder it becomes to walk away from it. This is why people often protect what they have personally invested in. It is not only about who you are as a person, it is also about what the other person has contributed to creating the relationship. When someone gives their attention, time, consistency, and emotional effort, those actions naturally increase the importance of the bond in their own mind. That is why constantly making everything effortless can sometimes have the opposite effect. If there is never any opportunity to contribute, appreciate, or earn trust over time, emotional investment may never fully develop. Stay with me, because the next point clears up one of the biggest misunderstandings people have about attraction, and it might save you from repeating the same dating mistakes again and again. This is also why people who become overly available too quickly often struggle to keep lasting interest alive. It is never because they are unlovable or not good enough. Their value has not disappeared. The problem is that they unintentionally remove the natural process through which appreciation grows. They answer every message immediately, cancel their own plans without hesitation, and slowly make another person the center of their world before the relationship has earned that place. Over time, there is very little left to discover because everything has already been given away. But someone who protects her own life creates a completely different experience. She enjoys the relationship without giving up her identity. She continues growing, learning, working toward her goals, spending time with people she loves, and protecting the life she built before the relationship began. That quiet confidence creates respect. It creates curiosity. It encourages healthy pursuit rather than passive comfort. She does not become someone to settle for because she refuses to settle for less than mutual effort herself. That small change in the relationship completely changes changes the emotional dynamic. What begins as attraction has room to grow into admiration, respect, and much deeper emotional attachment. Do not skip the next part, because this is where many people accidentally push away the very connection they are trying so hard to build. The biggest mistake many people make is believing that protecting your value means becoming cold, distant, or emotionally unavailable. That is not the goal at all. Healthy boundaries are never about punishment or manipulation. They are about self-respect. They are about remembering that your happiness, your dreams, and your peace of mind matter just as much as the relationship itself. You can be warm without becoming desperate. You can be caring without abandoning yourself. You can love deeply while still expecting consistency, honesty, and mutual effort. The strongest relationships are built by two complete people choosing each other, not by one person slowly disappearing to keep the other happy. This leads to an important truth that many people only understand after experiencing heartbreak. Relationships rarely fall apart because love completely disappears overnight. More often, they begin falling apart because one person starts giving away too much of themselves while asking for almost nothing in return. And in many situations, that person ends up being the woman who believes endless sacrifice will eventually create lasting love. Keep listening, because the next lesson explains why this pattern quietly changes the way a relationship feels, even when both people genuinely care about each other. Many women slowly reshape their entire routine around one man without even realizing it. They adjust their schedule to fit his calendar. They choose activities based only on what he enjoys. They place their own dreams on hold because they believe complete devotion will make him appreciate them more. The intention comes from love, but the result is often very different. The more they stop choosing themselves, the less balanced the relationship becomes. Without realizing it, they communicate that their own needs can always wait. They stop protecting the boundaries that once made them interesting, confident, and independent. Eventually, the relationship begins to feel one-sided. When a man notices that he has become your only source of excitement, your only focus, and the center of your entire emotional world, it does not always create the feeling of importance that people expect. Instead, it can quietly create pressure. He may begin feeling responsible for your happiness instead of simply enjoying the relationship. Healthy love grows best when both people bring full, meaningful lives into the partnership instead of expecting one person to carry the emotional weight for both. And what comes next may be the most important shift of all, because it explains exactly how to protect your heart without pushing away someone who truly wants to build something real with you. Try looking at it from his point of view for a moment. When the relationship first began, one of the biggest things that attracted him was the life you already had. You were independent, you had goals that excited you, you spent time with friends, enjoyed your hobbies, and carried yourself with quiet confidence. He was not meeting someone who needed to be rescued. He was meeting someone who had built a meaningful life and simply chose to let him become part of it. But little by little, often without even noticing, everything started to change. You began cancelling plans just in case he wanted to see you. Your own dreams slowly moved into the background because most of your attention was focused on his world instead of yours. Conversations became more about his life than your own. Your schedule slowly revolved around his availability. Then something unexpected happened. The very qualities that first drew him toward you slowly became harder for him to see. The confident, passionate woman with her own direction seemed to fade into the background, replaced by someone who depended on the relationship to feel complete. Deep down, most people can sense the difference between genuine love and emotional dependence. One creates freedom, the other quietly creates pressure. Stay with me, because the next point explains why this small shift changes the entire emotional balance of a relationship, and very few people recognize it while it is happening. This is why so many relationships begin with excitement but later feel completely different. At first, everything seems effortless. There is laughter, curiosity, and endless conversation. Then, slowly, one person starts pulling away. leaving the other confused and searching for answers. Many women believe they must have made a terrible mistake, but often they were simply following advice they believed was correct. They loved without limits. They gave without protecting themselves. They placed his happiness above their own, believing endless sacrifice would naturally create endless love. The painful truth is that unlimited giving does not always create stronger attraction. In many situations, it quietly removes the emotional balance that keeps two people connected. When there are no healthy limits, appreciation often fades. When there is nothing left to discover, excitement slowly becomes routine. The relationship may still feel comfortable, but comfort alone cannot replace admiration, curiosity, or emotional investment. Healthy love needs closeness, but it also needs individuality. It needs two people continuing to grow instead of one person slowly disappearing inside the relationship. Keep watching because the next lesson may explain something you have experienced without ever fully understanding why it happened. There is another part of this that many people overlook, and it may be the most important of all. Every time you ignore your own values to avoid disappointing someone else, a small piece of your confidence quietly disappears. It does not happen overnight. It happens through hundreds of little choices. You stay silent when something bothers you. You accept behavior that does not match your standards. You apologize for needs that are completely reasonable. You stop speaking up because you fear creating conflict. Over time, the way you see yourself begins to change. And when your own self-respect becomes weaker, other people often notice that change, even if you never mention it. Confidence is not only heard in your words, it appears in your posture, your decisions, your boundaries, and the way you respond when something feels wrong. People naturally respect those who respect themselves. They are drawn towards someone who knows their own worth without needing constant approval. Lasting relationships are built on that foundation. They grow through mutual respect, honest communication, and healthy boundaries that protect both people instead of controlling either one. Do not click away because the next idea completely changes the way most people think about boundaries. Many people imagine boundaries as walls built to keep others out, but that is not what healthy boundaries really are. They are quiet standards that show others how you expect to be treated. They are not punishments. They are not games. They are not emotional tests. They simply protect what matters while creating room for trust to grow naturally. Every healthy boundary quietly says something important without using many words. It says that your time matters, your energy matters, your emotional well-being matters. It reminds others that closeness is built through consistency and respect instead of assumptions. Surprisingly, these boundaries do not scare away emotionally healthy men. They often create the opposite effect. Someone who truly wants a meaningful relationship usually appreciates knowing where they stand and what is needed to build trust. They are not looking for endless shortcuts. They want the opportunity to earn something meaningful. Think about the achievements you value most in your own life. The things that make you proud usually required patience, effort, and commitment. Relationships often grow the same way. The strongest connections are rarely built through convenience alone. They are built through shared investment over time. Stay until the end because the final shift ties everything together in a way that many people never expect. The women who leave lasting impressions are not the ones who constantly chase approval. They are the ones who continue living meaningful lives while building the relationship. They care deeply, but they never stop caring about themselves. They give generously, yet they also allow the other person to contribute, invest, and show consistent effort. They are available for someone who respects them, but they never feel pressured to make themselves endlessly available for everyone. Healthy boundaries also create emotional safety because they remove confusion. Instead of guessing what is acceptable, both people understand the expectations. Communication becomes clearer, respect becomes easier. Trust grows naturally because both individuals know where the lines are instead of constantly testing them. Most importantly, boundaries protect your relationship with yourself. Every time you keep your standards, your confidence becomes stronger. Every time your confidence grows, your presence becomes more attractive because it comes from authenticity instead of fear. This creates a powerful cycle where respect strengthens attraction and attraction supports deeper connection. The boundary you are about to discover is not complicated, but it changes everything. It replaces obligation with genuine desire. It replaces emotional dependence with healthy partnership. It transforms the way others respond to you because it first transforms the way you respond to yourself. And what comes next may be the most valuable lesson in this entire conversation, so make sure you stay with me until the very end. Here it is, the one boundary that quietly changes everything. Never make someone your highest priority when they continue treating you like only one of many choices. At first, it sounds almost too simple to matter. But when you truly understand this idea and begin living by it every day, your relationships start changing in ways you never expected. Many women, because they love deeply and want to show how much they care, accidentally turn the balance upside down. They place one man at the center of their world while quietly accepting a much smaller place in his. They adjust their entire schedule around his availability while he fits them in whenever it happens to be convenient. They invest their emotions, attention, and time into someone who has not shown the same level of commitment in return. Healthy love is not about giving less, it is about giving wisely. It means matching effort instead of constantly trying to earn love through sacrifice. If he reaches out occasionally, you do not feel pressure to carry every conversation alone. If he only makes plans when he has nothing else happening, you do not cancel meaningful plans just to be available. If he treats you like one possibility among many, you do not place him above everything else in your life. Stay with me because the next shift explains why this simple change reveals more about someone's true intentions than almost anything else. What makes this boundary so powerful is that it naturally creates clarity. It gently asks the other person to either step forward or quietly step away. And believe it or not, both outcomes work in your favor. The moment you stop giving far more than you receive, the relationship reaches an important turning point. If his feelings are genuine, he often begins investing more. He notices your absence. He becomes more intentional. He reaches out with greater consistency because he realizes your attention is valuable and should never be taken for granted. Those are the people worth paying attention to because they respond to healthy standards with greater effort instead of frustration. But if he slowly disappears the moment you stop carrying the entire relationship, he is also giving you a valuable answer. He is showing you that he appreciated the convenience more than the connection. He enjoyed receiving your effort without feeling responsible for giving the same in return. That truth may hurt for a moment, but it protects you from wasting months or even years hoping someone will suddenly become different. Keep watching, because the next lesson explains why this boundary transforms not only the relationship, but also the way you see yourself. Something remarkable begins happening inside you when you stop making someone your entire focus before they have earned that place. All the emotional energy you once spent worrying, waiting, and wondering slowly comes back to you. You begin investing in your own dreams again. You reconnect with your hobbies. You spend more time with people who genuinely care about you. You stop measuring your happiness by whether one person answered your message. Instead, your own life becomes exciting again. Ironically, this is often the moment people start noticing you more. Confidence grows naturally when your identity is no longer built around someone else's attention. There is a quiet strength in someone who enjoys life without needing constant validation. Others can feel that energy without you saying a single word. You become more relaxed, more genuine, more interesting because your life is full whether someone chooses to stay or not. That confidence creates attraction far more effectively than chasing approval ever could. Do not skip the next part because many people misunderstand this completely, and avoiding that mistake can save you from repeating the same unhealthy relationship patterns. This boundary is never about becoming cold, difficult, or impossible to reach. It is not about pretending you do not care. It is about caring for yourself just as much as you care for someone else. You become thoughtful about where your time goes. You become intentional about who receives your emotional energy. You protect your peace instead of handing it away too quickly. As a result, your attention begins to feel meaningful because it is given with purpose instead of desperation. Healthy people are naturally attracted to that kind of confidence because they recognize someone who respects themselves. Instead of accepting half-hearted effort, you begin attracting people who are ready to give the same level of commitment they hope to receive. You stop accepting the smallest amount of affection while dreaming about something bigger. Instead, you create space for relationships built on mutual effort, honesty, and consistency. Real love is never one person carrying everything while the other simply enjoys the benefits. It grows through equal investment. It grows when both people choose each other every day instead of one person constantly trying to prove they deserve to stay. Stay until the end, because what happens after you start living this way may completely surprise you. Once you begin matching effort instead of constantly exceeding it, you will notice people's behavior changing almost immediately. Someone who truly values you but had grown comfortable may begin reaching out more often. He may make clearer plans instead of waiting until the last minute. He may show greater consistency because he realizes your attention is no longer guaranteed. That response reveals maturity and genuine interest. But not everyone reacts that way. Some people become uncomfortable the moment you stop doing all the work. They may accuse you of changing or becoming distant simply because you are finally respecting your own limits. That reaction tells you far more than any promise ever could. A person who becomes upset when you begin valuing yourself was often benefiting from the imbalance. As your confidence grows, something else changes too. Friends notice you smiling more. You feel lighter because your happiness no longer depends on one person's choices.